let's talk about one of China's greatest novels, A Dream of Red Mansions. It's this incredible story from the 18th century that people have been obsessed with for generations. But here's the thing, it's not just one book. Seriously, depending on how you look at it, it can be a completely different story. It all comes down to which world you decide to step into.
First off, just to give you a sense of the scale we're dealing with here, the book has more than 400 characters. I mean, this isn't just a story, it's a massive, sprawling universe filled with everyone from the highest nobles to the lowest servants, and they all feel real. And this whole epic unfolds over 120 chapters. Yeah, this is not exactly a weekend read. It's a deep, deep dive into the rise and fall of this incredibly powerful family, all told with a kind of realism that's just breathtaking. The author, Cao Xueqin, basically poured his entire life into this thing.
So, with a book this huge and this complex, you gotta ask, is there just one single way to read it? Absolutely not. And that, right there, is the true genius of this masterpiece. It's not one story, it's many stories, all living inside the same pages. The very first world we run into, especially as English readers, is the world of words. It's all about translation. The story we get is filtered through the mind of a translator, and believe me, their choices can change everything.
Okay, so check this out. There are two big English translations, and they could not be more different. On one side, you've got the Yangs, who were Chinese translators. Their goal was to be more literal, to give you an authentic taste of Chinese culture. On the other side, you've got David Hawkes, a British scholar. His goal? To adapt the text so it would be super readable for a Western audience. Totally different philosophies. And we're not talking about small, nitpicky differences here. A single choice by a translator can totally shift the tone, the meaning, the whole cultural vibe. It's not just about swapping words, it's about building a bridge between two completely different worlds. Let's look at a few examples.
Okay, so look at how they handle a simple Chinese idiom. The original line is a poetic reference to an old myth about passing the big imperial exams. The Yangs translate it literally, so you get all that beautiful cultural flavor. But Hawks? He translates the meaning. He just says, I wish you every success. One gives you culture, the other gives you clarity. So which one is right? Here's another amazing one. There's this custom where a student performs a kowtow, a deep bow, to their new teacher. The Yangs kind of modernize it, translating it as acknowledge me as your tutor. But look at Hawks. He makes the custom totally explicit. Make your kowtow. He's actively making a choice to teach the reader about a specific cultural tradition. This one might be my favorite. You see, in China, the east wind is a warm, pleasant wind that signals spring. But in Britain, the east wind is a cold, nasty, unpleasant wind. So a literal translation would give the English reader the complete opposite feeling of what the author intended. So what does Hawks do? He changes it to summer breeze to keep that soft, gentle mood. It's a perfect example of translating a feeling, not just words. All right, so that's the world of words. Now let's step into the physical heart of the novel, the symbolic center of everything, the Grand View Garden. And this isn't just some pretty scenery. This garden is practically a character itself. So get this, the garden was built when the Jia family was at the absolute peak of their power and wealth. It was made for a huge imperial visit. It was a symbol of their ultimate success. But even from the moment it was created, it kind of held the seeds of their eventual downfall. The garden's life perfectly mirrors the family's journey. First, it's built for glory, this massive monument to their status. Then it becomes this beautiful, isolated paradise for the young characters, a dream world of poetry and art, totally shielded from reality. But then, as the family starts to lose power and favor, the garden itself falls apart, becoming a haunting symbol of their own collapse. Okay, so from the physical world of the garden, we're now going into the deepest world of all, the world of ideas. What is this novel really trying to say? Well, back at the turn of the 20th century, one scholar came along with an interpretation that basically changed the game forever. That scholar's name was Wang Guowei. He was one of the first people to really bring Western philosophy into conversations about Chinese classics. And he argued that A Dream of Red Mansions was the ultimate tragedy, a tragedy of tragedies, but its idea of what makes something tragic was uniquely Chinese. Now, to get what Wang is saying, you have to understand this one concept, 人间情怀. It's hard to translate perfectly, but it's something like a deep feeling for this world.
It's this idea that you should be engaged with the messy, complicated business of human life, that you have a kind of social responsibility, instead of just trying to escape it all for yourself.
And this is where things get really interesting. See, Wang was reading Western thinkers like Schopenhauer, whose whole philosophy was about achieving a personal escape from suffering by denying the will to live. But Wang, looking through this lens of Renjen Xinghuai, just couldn't accept that. He argued that you can't really be saved as long as other people are still suffering. For him, true greatness was about taking on the world's pain.
And here's the heartbreaking part. Wang Guowei's own life tragically mirrored his ideas. He took his own life as the Qing dynasty. The culture he felt he embodied was collapsing. His friend wrote this devastating line basically saying that Wang couldn't survive when the world he was so deeply connected to was ending. So after traveling through all these different worlds, the world of words, of symbols, of ideas, we have to ask, what is it that makes this novel such an enduring masterpiece?
Well, it's because this book is never just one thing. It's a world of words where every translator gives you a new lens. It's a world of symbols where a garden can tell the future of an entire family. And it's a world of ideas where the biggest questions about life and suffering are all on the table.
And that, right there, is the ultimate takeaway. The greatness of this book isn't about finding the one correct way to read it. Its genius is that it can hold all of these worlds at the same time. It can be a different book for every person who reads it, and even a different book for you at different points in your own life. That really just leaves us with one final thought. This novel proves that how we look at a piece of art is just as important as the art itself. So what other books or movies or paintings can you think of that totally transform, depending on the lens you're using?